we grew up in Cassett, Kershaw County. It's about 12 miles from Camden. And we lived on the farm. And there's 7 brothers and sisters. And Dick and Mary and I are the last ones. And I showed you a picture as you came in of us some years ago. That's how we looked then. And we lived in the country, and we did a lot of things in the country that people in the city never think about. We had a farm, and we raised cotton, corn, tobacco, big vegetable garden, real big vegetable garden. But one thing about it that we did not have that I often longed for was electricity. Can you imagine living in a house with no electricity, studying by lamplight, and heating with wood and fireplaces and a heater? But we survived and we were happy because I think we had a real happy family life. And we had to work hard. It was we were not rich people at all. And but one thing that my parents kept reminding us that we needed a good education. And fortunately, most of my family are college graduates. Some of them with doctorates, and the ones who did not go to college have done reasonably well in life. But we had the chores that we had to do at home were just like any other country people, and there was wood to be brought in for the wood stove, and I can see the wood stove now and the things that my mother cooked there. And then on Saturdays in the summertime, just maybe once or twice a month, Daddy would go to Bethune and get a 100-pound block of ice, and we'd make ice cream with the churn. You churned it, no electricity. And this was something that was our pleasure. And then we had games with the neighbors and everything. The Holland family was our closest neighbors, and you've probably heard the name Don Holland, but we grew up together. And from that little tiny village came doctors, lawyers, nurses, school teachers, school principals, and I think it was all because of my parents telling us that we needed to get a good education to make it in life. We all had chores to do. Dick's chores, one of his chores was going into the woods with Daddy and my older brother and cutting wood for the stove and for the fireplaces. And I don't think they liked it too well, but anyway, they did it. And then we had to gather the corn in, and after the corn was gathered in, it was taken to the mill and ground into grits and meal. And then we raised wheat, and after the wheat was gathered in, Daddy would take it to Darlington to make flour. And so we had cows, we had our milk and butter, we had hogs, and hog killing time was a terrible time. I hated to see those poor animals get killed, but anyway, after the hogs were killed, the men would take care of that, and then Mama and all of us girls would get in the kitchen and we would prepare the sausage and so forth. And the men would salt the hams down, put them in the smokehouse so that they could preserve them for the winter. We all attended a small country school, Midway School, and they didn't have a lot of subjects to offer there. They didn't have the courses you have today. And my parents were very interested in education, and so my 2 older sisters drove back and forth to Camden to go to Camden High School, and I was boarded in Camden with a cousin, and I finished high school in Camden. But Dick did finish high school out in the country, and after high school he went to Wynyard and then on to Clemson University, and after being at Clemson, he and my older brother would come back to the beach in the summer and work to earn money to pay for their education, because at that time Daddy was dead and there was very little money coming in. And so Dick went to the beach, and that's where he fell in love with real estate. he and John worked at the pad. I'm sure you all remember the pad at OD. And they worked there. And Dick decided after he went back to Clemson, that's what he wanted to do, go into real estate. And so that's what he did. And I think he's done very well at it. Start out from the ground level and go up. I get now to the vacations that we had down there. They were so wonderful. Dick was so generous with his family. He shared condominiums with us, stayed in their home, and my daughter just loved going down there because then she could lay at the pool, and while Mama and Ann and the boys went to the creek bank, got all muddy, crabbing. That was one of my favorite things, and if I was able to do it again, I would certainly go back down there and stay a week and go crabbing. But anyway, that was some of the fun things that we did when we went there. And Dick was so gracious, he would always take us out to eat. Never let us pay for anything. He always took care of all bills and everything. And then after he got to the beach, he began to get in civic organizations and into politics, the school board, county council, and then he was on numerous regional committees and so forth. And he always worked for the people. I always felt like he was a people person. And although if you first met him, you would not think that. But I was not involved in his political campaigns because I was working, but Bobby and Mary always went down and spent a lot of time at the beach. And Dick loved his area that he served. He loved his constituents, and he came from the farm. And some of the places in Dillon and Williamsburg County that he served, he really met and loved those people, and he loved the people in Horry County too. But as a matter of fact, he still has a little garden every year. I don't know whether you all are aware of that or not, but he still has that little garden. But at Christmas time, all of us loved to go to the beach because Dick and Ann always had a wonderful spread for us. And one of the most memorable Christmases was the time he took us out on a boat and had the dinner catered. And they were dancing on the boat and everything, and Bobby Jones sprained his ankle real bad on that boat. But anyway, it was a lot of fun, and we enjoyed going down there to the Christmas celebrations. And my daughter still loves going to the beach, and the girls love going to the beach. But she doesn't like going in the ocean. She likes the pool. And the thing they got at the new condo now, I don't know what you call it, where you go in a circle, the grandchildren love to go in there. But his church life was important to him. He served at Presbyterian Church on several committees, and also I think he worked in the Sunday school department. And when we would go down and be there on Sunday, Ann would always take us to the Presbyterian Church at Ocean Drive. And of course, they've got a big church now, it's a lot bigger, but I think he's still active in his church life. Ann grew up in Bishopville, which is about 25 miles from here. You probably passed it on the interstate. And she has always been, come on down, come on down. Even if she had company in the house, come on down. She would always find a place for us. And she's always been so gracious to the family, all the family. And we all love her. She's just been a wonderful sister-in-law to me. And I could never thank her enough. And I could never thank Dick enough for what he's meant to me personally and vacation times and so forth. And Rick and David, I love those boys. We've had so many fun hours together. And I'd fuss at them a little bit because every summer around I'd go down there to pick up the crab baskets. They were nowhere to be found. And so we'd have to go out and buy new baskets. But anyway, they would laugh about it, still laugh about it. And so now he says, Nancy, come on down to the beach and we'll go crabbing. And I think, well, Dick, I'm too old to get in that mud anymore. But anyway, it was a lot of fun when we did it. But yes, it's been a wonderful life for our family. I think that there's a lot of families that have troubles, but our family was very close, and we don't get to see each other as much as we did at one time because age, and and of course everybody's got grandchildren now, and they're torn between going to another part of the state or another state, and but we still keep in contact Christmases and so forth. As a matter of fact, they will be here this Christmas because it's my daughter's time to entertain the family at Christmas, so we'll have the meal here this year. Well, actually, it'll be in Charlotte. Dick was involved in politics on the local and state level, and he was very successful, I think, and he, as I said before, he was a people person. He loved his constituents, and he looked out for them. And regardless of their age or their color or their wealth in life, it didn't bother him a bit. But I did not take part in any of his political campaigns because I was working, and Mayor and Bobby went down and helped him an awful lot. But he was just successful in politics. My husband's family was heavily involved in politics here in Kershaw County. I never took part in that. I supported them by voting because I felt that was something that I should do. But I never did get out and visit and hand out cards and things like that. And I should be sorry for not helping Dick any more than I did, but that's a thing of the past now, and it's over, and he had a wonderful political life. And I think the people that he served knew how conservative he was and how dedicated he was to that office. And I don't think that he craved the power and the prestige that a lot of politicians go after these days. For instance, in Washington. But yes, he was very political in his life, and Ann helped him an awful lot, and so did his boys in later years when they were old enough to help. And I just admire the work that he's done for Horry County and the other counties that he served. I think he's done a wonderful job, and I hope that he will continue to help people, even though he's not in the political ring anymore. But he loved it. He simply loved it, and he loved his golf game very much. And that was another thing that my husband liked. When he was able to play golf, he'd go down, and Dick would always be sure that he got a tee time at one of the golf courses. And he was just generous in every way to his family. I cannot say enough about it because a lot of families are torn between each other, but not Dick. He looked out for us very much. When you get in your 80s and you realize that you're all living on borrowed time, you look at life a lot differently. And I've been blessed. My family's been blessed. Some of us in bad health and have been in bad health at times. But I look forward to the day when I'll be able to meet my parents again and see the ones who've departed before me. But I have no regrets in my life, and I don't think Dick has any regrets with his or any of my family. We've never been in jail or anything like that, So I think that's remarkable. But I just think Dick's a wonderful person. I don't know what I would have done without him over the years. He's been so kind and generous and helping in any way he could to members of the family, especially to Gary and myself and my daughter. One of his high school teachers one day told me in the bank that Dick was so far ahead of everybody else in his class that he needed to be higher than he was. He was very, very bright, very, very bright in school. And then back then you didn't have these college courses offered, and didn't have Seagull and all this stuff. But she remarked, she said, I feel so bad for him because he just knows more than I do sometimes. But he took it upon himself to read and study and get outside help. By outside help, I mean reading and keeping up with current events and things like that. And I think that really helped him later in life because he applied himself very much. And I think it was because of the upbringing that our parents instilled in us.